Hey guys, Coldbrew here. Welcome back to another video. So today we had lots of news going on. The promo code, by the way, that I posted earlier is not working. They patched it so quickly. I don't know why they're doing this. It's barely 100 energy. Anyway, the guaranteed voids this weekend will be happening for 110 voids for Chagger, as we thought, and the community cracked the code. And we also gonna have some 10x for a few champions that are defense down champions. The void one is a barbarian one, and it's a strong one. It's Usuga. From what I'm seeing, she's a very strong defensive champion for arena, very strong passive which decreases damage on allies from critical hits. She can also apply a decreased defense on her own skill. I think it's her A2 skill. Yeah, A2 skill applies a decreased defense. That is not very exciting though. I won't be pulling for it, but if you are pulling for Chagger, you might as well have that in mind, that you might also get Usuga. For the non-voids though, we do have Miss Shinagi offered. I'm very happy about this champion, but I will not be pulling for it. I'll be just saving all my resources for the future. Who knows what kind of event they'll be dropping. Miss Shinagi is an amazing champion, especially for Hydra, but he's also very good in clan boss and any other area where you can utilize Hex plus decreased defense, decreased attack, plus his countering that he does when the Hex is on. Just an amazing skill. He's the best champion offered right now for this 10x. We're also going to have Ragash offered through this one. So Ragash, the kitty cat that stuns and applies the decreased defense plus perfect veil. Very strong champion. We'll also have Herndig, a very strong dwarf that does apply a decreased defense on the A2 turn control. A1 that he can gain an extra turn. It's an amazing champion. Was a fusion in the past. It's so crazy that they're offering him again through a 10x. It's been a while since I've seen him in a 10x. And then in terms of the epics, we will have, of course, Madame Ceres, one of the best decreased defense champions in the game that also removes buffs with the A3. We'll have Stagnite, an amazing champion that again decreased defense, decreased attack, very strong, plus decreased speed on the A1. And then Mistrider, Daithi, and Deacon Armstrong are also featured through this one. So Deacon Armstrong, if you go right here, where's Deacon? Great skill set. You can get him for free if you make a new account and use the superpowers promo code. But if you don't, then go for this 10x. Very strong decreased defense, very strong turn manipulation, plus aura. Is used in one of the Demitha teams. And then Mistrider, Daithi, I'm not even sure in which faction this one is. I have no idea. I think it's this one. Yeah, it's this one right here. Probably the decreased defense is on the AoE here that this guy has. Don't think he has it on any of the other skills. Not really gonna go for any of these. So let's go for the next part, which is the exciting one, and it's the fusion that will be coming and starting the 9th of the month. It's gonna be, well, a fusion event. It's not specified on how the fusion event will be, any details on that, so any of the champions that will be added for the fusion. So just assume that you'll need a lot of resources for leveling up and potions. And let's get started. It's going to be a Sylvan Watchers champion, and we do have an infographic that I can share with you guys. Boom, here it is. Della, or is it Oella? Not very clear. Della, Oella, is that an O? Is that an A? Oh, it's an O. It's very confusing. This is very confusing. Anyway, let's have a look at the skills. So A1, Fluster, attacks one enemy, 80% chance to place a decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. This debuff cannot be resisted if alternate of the shell is on the same team. This guy, by the way, is probably gonna be like a void champion. That's what they do with these pairs of champions that utilize each other's, you know, abilities, and if they're both together they become way stronger. Probably gonna be like a void, so they make this fusion only good if you have that void. So yes, this is a very good decreased speed, very useful for, I would say, the Sand Devil. If you want a decreased speed skill, that is also guaranteed if you have this champion in there. A2 will be a heal by 30% of their max HP on allies, plus increase the duration of all buffs. Very strong, 3 turns cooldown, should be a big heal, very strong for supporting your team. And then the A3 fills Terminator by 30% and places a 50% increased resistance buff on all allies for 2 turns, 3 turns cooldown. Again, very strong, but it's nothing too crazy in terms of being support. The passive is what makes her a little bit more special. Whenever an ally loses 15% or more of their max HP from a single hit, places a continuous buff on that ally for 1 turn, places a 15% continuous heal buff for 2 turns on that ally, and then instantly activates it if Ultan of the Shell is on the same team. This is very specific, and this champion only becomes great if Ultan of the Shell is really in with her. Plus increases ally resistance in dungeons by 75. Overall, I'm not that crazy excited by Oella. Looks great, looks like a pixie, you know, for the Silver Marchers. If the fusion is easy, yeah, this will be a nice champion added for all accounts out there. Not really useful, I would say. Pliam did mention to us that she will be good for the Hydra, but I can only see it because of the increased resistance buff. Her aura doesn't work for the Hydra since that is not a dungeon, so I don't see how that can be connected in there. The dungeon's resistance boost is only good for, I would say, the Iron Twins and the Sand Devil, where the requirements there for resistance is much higher. So you can definitely see her as something to help you push for those 2 dungeons specifically. But overall, I wouldn't go crazy about this champion and go out of my way, especially spend a lot of money to get this one. I would give her maybe a 7.5 out of 10. That passive is the only thing that looks very nice, but it can only occur once to an ally per turn. So that is very specific on how this passive works, and it's only really good when Ultan is in there as well, because that would have healed your ally by 15%, plus keeping the continuous heal buff as well in there. Really helps them recover from that big hit that they will receive when they're getting attacked. Overall, a support that, you know, added to the game. There's honestly some epic champions that have a very similar kit, and one of them is the Lizardman Jareg. He has this, but on himself places a 15% continuous buff on an ally for 1 turn whenever an ally loses 20% of their max HP in 1 hit. So this is actually stronger because it's not once per turn, it's 20% of their max health, so it's a little bit different. But you can actually get this going from multi-hits. If you get a multi-hit, that's 20%, and then another 20%. That's 2 continuous heal buffs that are applied. If Jared has the extend buffs mastery, this also can be extended by another turn, so have that in mind. But Jareg is an amazing champion, epic, that can have the same kind of passive. Of course, doesn't have everything else that Oella has, but overall a very strong epic to consider if you're looking something very similar to that. And that kind of skill is very useful for this rotation of the Doom Tower for beating the Eternal Dragon. You need that because the Eternal Dragon hits very hard, and that kind of recovery is very useful to have from champions such as Jareg, or, you know, the new one Oella, and maybe other champions that have something similar like the activation of continuous heal buffs. Not so many champions that have that. I think the one that comes to mind for me is Opardin. I think has a continuous heal buff activation, I believe, or maybe just a continuous heal buff plus healing. Another great support that we have, but very underwhelming in the sense of not really used, because although his kit looks good, it's not something that end game players will even consider using. Not even end game players, more for a mid game account, I would say, to help you push a little bit in those areas where you're finding yourself lacking, you know, not being able to push to Iron Twins 15 or Sand Devil and go a little bit higher for Sand Devil. Be myself, Sand Devil, I don't even consider it, even though I have, you know, energy saved up. I keep that saved up and use it in areas which I think are worth it. So this was the video, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. I don't think we'll have any more news for today, so this was it. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.